So we are live now, and we're just going to be starting up with another 2 minutes to spare. So we'll just put up a quick video on SowtexConnect.
Wonderful. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, Sonal, for this wonderful video. And yes, it is now time that we get going with our session. And good evening, everyone, for all the people who have joined us. And we are, of course, absolutely looking forward for many more people to join from actually 5 other continents, 5 other countries. Yes, we are looking forward to an exciting discussion around green buildings in the textile industry. And I am super excited. And with me, you can already see a wonderful panel who's already there. But before I actually go on to the panel and introduce them, I would now like to also first talk about what is SowtexConnect. Many of you who are actually will be new to this. So let me tell you what is SowtexConnect, and then I will also be talking about what is SowtexConnect, because this event is happening under SowtexConnect, which is a division of Sowtex. And then we will go with the introductions and the session for today. So straight away, getting into the session. By the way, I am Gagan Kapoor, and I lead the SowtexConnect initiative of Sowtex. With me, if you can see, is Sonal, who is the founder of Sowtex Network. And there you go, Sonal, from a single thought which generated several years ago, Sowtex has now actually become a 12,000 members strong platform, which is practically, if you see, it's a tech aggregator and it's a knowledge platform, primarily B2B network specifically for the textile industry. It induces global connections. Primarily, it presents smart tech tools for sales as well as sourcing, and unified workflow where you are connecting buyers as well as suppliers in the textile world. ultimate aim that it is for the growth of all the businesses who are on the platform. And what all kind of things, what we really do at it, right? Number one, we provide sourcing and lead generation tools, which includes real-time sourcing of raw materials, pricing and delivery, portfolio management tools, which are primarily design, record listings and e-catalogs, surplus stock management and liquidation, idle capacity search and updating, right? SowtexConnect, I will talk about SowtexConnect in a bit, in a real soon. And then multiple interactions with buyers, manufacturers, sellers, vendors, experts, industry and industry associations. And when we talk about really SowtexConnect, Sowtex is a tool where you can actually see opportunities live, whether it is you can see the inquiry live feed or managing your stocks. Every single thing is available to a person, to a business owner on this dashboard. So this is what Sowtex brings to you all. And this is a time of digital transformation. So I would say our idea is that we can see how much at this point we can move away from touch and feel market because of the restricted travel, but enhance digital engagements, reduce the consumption of natural resources, and reduce impact on environment and pollution. This is something which we have been doing. And as a part of reduction on impact of environment and pollution, right? This is the month of the World Earth Day. So now we thought that, okay, let's do a program on design. Let's do a program on green. And we will talk a bit more about it. But before that, I want to briefly talk about what is SowtexConnect. SowtexConnect is actually a platform specifically for the textile industry. It's a learning management platform which talks about learn, engage, and collaborate. Practically, it helps the textile community get more opportunities to connect with each other, train together, interact, collaborate, and co-create. And what all do you expect to get here? We create more value from our partners because it's not about just sourcing and buying. It's also creating a lot more value. How do we do that? We keep you up to date with the latest industry trends like the one we are talking about today. We let you get inspired by the industry leaders. We help you upskill your business through our business growth sessions. And then we also make sure that you learn from the best in the industry. So what do we do at SowtexConnect? We do a series of activities around this. We do set of networking events, which are live buyer-seller meets. We do knowledge series, the one which we are doing today. We have tech innovation session, the new technologies, which is coming into the textile world. Then we do fireside chats in which we pick up one company and then talk at depth about them. And then we also do business and personal upskilling sessions. I will be talking about more in a little while. Overall, all we plan is learn, engage, and collaborate. That's the idea. And what kind of audience do you get at SowtexConnect, Sowtex Network? You will see brands, buying agents and retail chains, garment and home furnishing manufacturers, fabrics, trims and machinery manufacturers, and allied services working for the textile industry. This in all totality, where we have larger companies, medium companies, as well as smaller companies, right from business owners to sourcing heads, to sales heads, to decision makers, to the merchants, as well as to the designers. And what do? We bring them all together and we all learn together. And when we learn and we bring them all together, all what we do is that we create more opportunities for each other, learn, engage, and collaborate. All what you have to do is to look for the SowtexConnect monthly events calendar and block every Thursday, 5 to 6:30 p.m. India time. Yes, we have an event every Thursday, and of course on Saturdays and Sundays, whereby we do business growth sessions. So when you see every Saturday or every Thursday, these are a set of events what we do. So let's see what's coming in the June and the July calendar, right? On 17th of June, we're planning green building, which is today. 24th of June, we are bringing in personal finance discipline for business owners. 26th of June, this is 24th is the next week. 26th June, we are bringing business growth session by Keval Kishan. 1st of July, networking event, which is a live buyer-seller meet. And 4th of July is the business growth session by Rahul Jain. These are the set of things. As I said, we have on the 26th, automate your business with Google Forms and Sheets by Keval Kishan. He's coming back on popular demand. We had a super successful session with him last month. And then this is the buyer-seller meet where the buyers from the industry as well as the sellers and the suppliers come in handy. And this time we have a new country. We have a guest country this time. We have many business owners, many manufacturers from Jordan who are joining on the buyer seller meet. In case you are interested, this is where we actually meet face to face, do breakout room sessions, look at the requirements. In the last 2-3 buyer seller meets, what we have done, we have created more than 350 opportunities, and 68% of all of them have already been connected. So the brands, buyers, and manufacturers are all there. And on the 4th of July, we bring in Rahul Jain, and who's talking about achieve exponential growth by transforming yourself. So he's a sustainable growth coach. So we are looking forward to that. And one more thing which I would like to tell, very soon, Sowtex has actually joined hands with a global technology giant for bringing in a global technology to India. It's already there, but Sowtex is going to be an exclusive partner. It is a bit of a surprise. We are working on all the factors, and yes, within a couple of weeks, you will see a grand launch, which we will be planning on the platform itself. And to do all of this, to do all of SowtexConnect, I would like to really thank our associations who are supporting us and the sponsors we have. I would like to thank Garment Exporter Association of Rajasthan, Indian Importers Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as Noida Apparel Export Cluster, who have been very kind to us in supporting us. And of course, our sponsors, DTEX and the VN International. When I talk about DTEX, they are one of the best mask manufacturers. They are the top 10 on Amazon and Flipkart in India. Thank you, DTEX, for helping us run this initiative, as well as VN International, who are one of the best corporate gifting companies in India, with the best for the corporate and the business owners world. And last but not the least, I would like to talk about the top value propositions, what Sowtex provides, right? 30% more business opportunities on the platform people get. 200 new leads every month. This is not a small amount of new buyers and suppliers. Portfolio management tools to share and manage designs, stocks, and capacities. Single dashboard to manage vendors and teams. Dynamic website, digital marketing tools, upskilling tools, and live networking events all in one place. Practically, services worth about 15 lakhs is what you get in various plans, what you're seeing at just peanuts, how we are producing them. With this, today is something which we have some interesting stuff. And today we have green buildings in the textile industry. And it is my pleasure indeed to moderate this particular session. And before I actually moderate, I would like to introduce our 3 panelists. And I would like to first introduce Mohammed Fazlul Haq. Mr. Haq, thank you so much for coming onto our session. Mr. Mohammed Fazlul Haq is one of the most dynamic leaders of apparel sector in Bangladesh. Mr. Haq has been intensively involved in the industry over 25 years. He has performed as the president of Bangladesh Knitwear Manufacturers and Exporters Association, BKNEA, on 3 consecutive terms, 2004 to 2010. During the presidential period of BKMEA and later 2011 to 2013, as the president of Bangladesh Employers Federation, Mr. Haq has taken several pioneering initiatives to facilitate worker benefits and workplace safety. Amazing. Despite of being a representative of owners, he has been acknowledged as a pro-worker leader. That's amazing. Thank you so much. He was the first director from Bangladesh in the International Apparel Federation, IAF. Besides that, he served as a director of Federation of Bangladesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, SARC, CCI, International Chamber of Commerce, Bangladesh, etc. Wonderful. Plummy Fashions, the company he owns and runs, is the greenest knitwear manufacturing unit in the world. Isn't that amazing? He is and this is one of the recent endeavors of Mr. Haq, which already became a milestone in the local and international knitwear sector. Plummy Fashions Limited also earned National Award on Environment from the Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh. Welcome, Mr. Haq, on this session of ours, and we are extremely delighted to have you here. Thank you. Next up, I would like to introduce Pranav, Mr. Pranav Mahajan. Pranav is the director at Masper and Mahajan Overseas, which has been in existence since 1969. And over the past 52 years, they have worked with some of the most prestigious global brands in the home textile space. With its vertically integrated manufacturing facilities, they offer a complete solution to furnish with their completely coordinated textiles for every corner of home you can think of. Pranav is a graduate with BA Honors in Textile Management from the University of Leeds. He joined the family business in 2002 and is highly skilled in export, production, retail, management, textile industry, and business development. Their company is 100% compliant and sustainable factory, holding eco-friendly status from M&S UK, IGBC Silver Green Certificate, GRS Certificate, and GOTS Certificate. Isn't that amazing? Pranav loves gardening and meeting people from all walks of life. He is an avid learner, which I got to know from our recent association. Thank you so much, Pranav. And he's a learner for life, and he believes that learning gives him new perspectives every time he learns something new. Welcome, Pranav, to our session.
Thank you.
And it is indeed my pleasure to also introduce Mr. Parag Varelkar. Architect Parag Varelkar has been in practice since 1984, when he graduated from University of Mumbai and joined the practice of M.R. Varelkar and Associates Private Limited. Parag is the chairman and chief visionary officer of the company, which has the experience of architecture and engineering consultancy spanning 56 years. The practice currently has 9 million square feet of projects under design. Wow. Exposed to industrial architecture, starting with the design of phase 1 of Maruti Udyog Limited and factories of Glaxo. He went on to design factories of Panasonic, Ericsson, Climate System, which is a Ford venture, and many, many more. In 1996, under his guidance, their company designed one of PepsiCo's first company-owned bottling plants in India, in Sataria, UP, which won the PepsiCo chairman's international award for 3 running years for being the most sustainable plant in the world. And these accolades has won him PepsiCo's bottling plants all over India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Ethiopia, Mozambique, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Amazing. Parag has 3 platinum rated projects to his credit, all in India. He has also qualified as an EDGE expert. EDGE stands for Excellence in Design for Greater Efficiencies and is promoted by International Finance Corporation. EDGE is the fastest, cheapest, and easiest way to certify green. I have known actually Parag for now several years, and Parag, we've worked closely in the past, and it's an absolute pleasure that I am with you on this particular platform. Thank you so much, everyone. And now, yes, let's go into the session. But before that, I would, of course, like to, I've already introduced him earlier, but would like to definitely mention the vision with which Sonal brings. Sonal, the founder of Sowtex, he brings to the platform, to the entire thought process on adding as much value as possible for the people. And it is his vision which started, and we've been friends for quite some years now, and we discussed that, okay, yes, let's add some more value. And there you see SowtexConnect originated, and it is adding more value to the people. So welcome, Sonal. And of course, I am looking forward to start this discussion and moderate this particular program. And I would actually go with, first of all, of course, I'll be asking a few questions, and we can take the questions on rotation. I will first ask Mr. Huck, if you can talk about, and the question actually is that, why do you think that we need sustainable and green infrastructure? And what is the current scenario with the green buildings? Any thoughts on that, sir?
Yeah, thank you. And the motivation actually pushed us to go for this green initiative is something different. It's no way connected with the saving the nature or something like that. It is because you can remember that we had a very tragic accident in 2013, which called Rana Plaza collapse and killing more than 1,000 people. And that moment we are planning to have a new factory, something like that. And as you mentioned that I was president of the association for 6 years, and that 6 years receiving lots of criticism about the safety, security, work standard, blah 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 blah. So that was and soon after the Rana Plaza, that started again. That whole the global community was looking at Bangladesh with huge criticism, and then we started thinking, can we do something very much positive that can really start to do the rebound the ball game? And then one of my colleagues come one day with the idea that referring Mass Holdings in Sri Lanka in particular, okay, they have a green factory, a lead platinum certified factory. Can we do this? So that strike me, okay, let's go for it. No, this is actually the Rana Plaza incident which actually triggered the whole things and pushed us to go for this very much positive, because it was not the case. It's happened in the apparel sector that we normally reactively do the things. Whatever buyer needs, whatever buyer pushed, we go for that. But this is the thing that the going for the sustainable initiatives, it was not required by anybody. Nobody pushed us, but we took the initiative by ourselves. It was pushed by the incident happened Rana Plaza, and then before a big fire incident took place in Bangladesh. So that's actually, I think, changed the scenario. And after doing that, we started feeling that it's have a very good response among the buyers as well, although they did not require it. And I am very happy, and up to some extent, you can say that I feel proud that we could set a trend in Bangladesh. So nowadays in Bangladesh, in last 5 years, a sizable factory, I'm not talking about the very small ones, but sizable, medium and large factory, nobody is thinking to go for setting up a factory without having a LEED certification. Either it's a LEED certification, LEED silver, LEED gold, or LEED platinum. So as per their capability, as per their, so there is a huge, a revolution took place in Bangladesh in last 5 years, especially in the LEED certification is concerned. And USGBC last week, they officially recognized it on exactly the last week. And as of now, I think almost 200 LEED certified apparel factories in Bangladesh, and another 200 is in the pipeline. And we are by far is the #1 in the world in terms of the total number of LEED certified apparel factories in the country. By far #1. And even in the when we scored 92, that was at that time, it was the highest among all kinds of structures in the world from USGBC. But later on, a few factories, especially Indonesia, scored 101 last year. And now still within the knitwear sector, this 92 is still the highest score. So, it's a marketing gimmick. We use the greenest knitwear factory. It was not an official recognition, but that we are the highest scorer. So as of now, Bangladesh, I think we are now driving it. It became a minimum standard nowadays to go for a LEED certification. So although it was not required by anybody, but somehow it changed the whole tone in the apparel sector in Bangladesh.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Haq. Pranav, I will come to you before I come to Parag. You have also been very passionate, and I know with so much of passion, you've built your factories. Tell me more about it. Why did you think that there was a need to create a sustainable and green infrastructure?
See, we've been into the export business since '69. So with every year coming in with new developments coming in now, 6 to 7 years back is when we started building our new factory, and we were one of the largest suppliers to Marks and Spencer's, and they had a vision of Plan A. And like Mr. Haq referred earlier, there was a factory in Sri Lanka, and they used to keep referring us to the factory that there's a green factory in Sri Lanka. So the management thought, the management means my dad and my brother, myself, thought that why not do a green factory in the country? And we were also building up a new factory. So we got our architect team and young architects. We spoke to them, didn't know much about what green building means, how to build the green buildings and stuff. And that's where the journey started. And it was purely to do with customers and requirements in terms of now sustainability was a talk, made in green was in talk, all these things were coming in. that's when we built our factory, which is a green certified factory. We were initially certified. Now, after 3 years on the renewal, we achieved silver, and hopefully the next renewal will be touching gold. So we were actually upgrading ourselves, learning daily with the new innovations coming in, adding on the features for a green building. And like we didn't have solar first. So now our solar plant is under process, is being installed. So before the next renewal, we probably may touch our gold certification. But it really gives us a lot of edge over other people, because it's now the need of the hour, and probably we are fortunate that we took the lead and went ahead and do it. Though it costs more to build a green factory, because the Parag would agree with me that the cost of building a green factory is more than building a normal factory. So, yes. But it will pay in the long run. And with today's talk about sustainability, we've all seen better environment, cleaner environment during the pandemic, when we could see clearer skies. So all these smaller initiatives like green buildings and stuff do contribute, because they do contribute to a certain part of cleaning the environment as well. That's why a green factory.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Pranav. And Parag, I'll now come to you, but I'll slightly change the question for you. Pranav mentioned a very critical point. Then when they thought of it, there was very less knowledge of it, right? Mr. Huck also mentioned how it all started with just as a knowledge from a factory in Sri Lanka. So then I would like to first come on to the knowledge part of it. Green is a lot of people still are thinking about what it means and whether they should go for it and all that. So I would request you to just throw a bit more light on that, what they should actually think about what is green. And then, of course, let's talk about why there is a growing need for developing this.
Sure. Thank you, Gagan. I feel that in the subcontinent, architects have always been designing more green. We've been using local materials, materials which have been available locally, which do not have to be transported over long distances. And our building techniques, the local building techniques have always used local technology to save energy, have the right amount of lighting, for ventilation. India, we are experts at recycling materials. So a green building, fundamentally, it reduces, your energy consumption. It saves water, and by using recycled and renewable materials, you fundamentally reduce your overall carbon footprint. And I feel green buildings, especially in the developing countries, are really, really important, because we are building so much. The amount of construction is going to go up exponentially in the developing world. So it's very, very important that we build green, because green buildings contribute to over 40% of the carbon emissions. Building industry, contributes to over 40% of carbon emissions.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons. And green buildings drastically improve the working environment. So a green factory enables the workers working in the factory to work far efficiently as compared to a plant which is not green. So if you have good ventilation, natural daylight, person working within the factory is able to see what time of the day it is. It has a huge psychological impact on the workers.
Wonderful, great. Thank you so much, Parag, for sharing this. And I could see that when people start thinking about setting up, there are a series of challenges which we see that still exist for people. Cost is definitely what Pranav mentioned is one of the challenge. So Pranav, I will now come to you before I come to Mr. Huck. What do you see when you started creating it? What do you see that are the challenges which come towards implementing a green infrastructure?
See, first, when we started implementing it, like I said, lack of knowledge in terms of understanding. So we actually got in a consultant to do it, to understand, because in a layman's language, there was a lot of parameters that are defined. You
Yes.
need to have a school closer to the factory, local, like Parag said, local sourcing. You're trying to create a modern building. A lot of things are not locally available. Then how do you make them available locally? A lot of recycling. What could be recycled? I still remember, I have videos from the making of the green building, that the trucks that used to come in with the soil and stuff, their tires used to be washed before they were leaving the site. So no soil could actually go out of it. We used to get points marked on that also, when we would have to give a proof of that. We used a lot of recycling. So whatever material, say for example, the brick pieces that were, when they construct the building, the brick pieces, they were also maintained on one site as a stock, so that they were used later on in the making of the roads and stuff. So initially there was a lot of issue in terms of the knowledge, understanding when we started making it. Now a lot of things is available. And personally, it was a great learning experience. Now I can actually become a consultant to a green building in the making. And then going through the renewal process, also the marking procedures, there is actually a late parameter now which IGBC gives us. And so it was very interesting. These sort of materials we used, we've ensured that we used materials which are about 100-kilometer radius from the site. Also, a lot of material came in from the other plants that they were initially planning to scrap it, but then we reused it. Say, for example, the racks, stacking racks and all, they were refurbished to be used. We used a special type of tile on the ceiling where the heat would revert back. So we control the heat from the ceiling as well. The building we have created has a full ventilation system with a 153-meter water body, which actually filters the air through the water body and sucks it out of the building. So the temperature difference between the inside and outside at peak summer is around 8 degrees, like Parag said. And we have a lot of natural light. So at that time, the challenges I faced was collecting materials which were actually required for it. Also the lack of knowledge and lack of understanding, and doing things right the first time. So these were a few challenges I faced at that time, but I learned a lot at that time.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Pranab. Mr. Haq, I would like to ask you, what kind of challenges did you face, or you are in touch with so many other manufacturers, or they are facing in building green infrastructure?
No, I think I think Mr. Pranab said, I think this is the common thing. And when we started thing, nobody has any idea about these things, and we had to hire the consultant. And our challenge is even maybe bigger than Mr. Pranab, because what happened, because of the Rana Plaza and all these things, we have decided to go for LEED Platinum. And everybody knows that the moment you have to apply, you have to declare that what certification you would like to reach. And I can remember that when we hired the consultant, who actually the consultant was Mass Holdings. He's from Sri Lanka, Mr. Jayalat. I'm sure Mr. Parag may know him. The Mr. Jayalat is Energy Solve. And he came and he did not agree to go for LEED Platinum. He told, okay, it is very, very expensive and very troublesome. And most likely in between you will leave and then we'll lose a lot of money for nothing. And I will lose my reputation that I tried a LEED Platinum project and I failed. So better not to go for it. Later go for gold. That would be safe for you. But you know that because of the passion we already had in mind, we said, okay, if you can do the platinum, do it. Otherwise, forget the LEED. No, we cannot change our mindset. So then, seeing our determination, he agreed. So from day one, scoring 80 points, and then we set our target. Okay, we want to cross 90. At that time, 90 was the highest score under USGBC. So we set the target from day one almost that we want to be the #1 in the world. So, it was enormous. Mr. Pranab already mentioned some parameter, but when you go for the platinum, this parameter even becomes much, much higher. And every details. I can just share one small experience that water taps, under the act, US Act, that you are not allowed to use more than 1.5 liter of water per minute. But normally we love to have the taps which gives you enough water.
Yes.
And we always love to use that. And when we went to the market and asking, okay, we need the taps which gives the 1.5 liter. Oh, they were asking that as a, we are from different planet, because they never heard this kind of things, that somebody came and asking that who is giving the less amount of water. And then then we had to go to Singapore to import this this special taps, because each and every point was very important for us. Mr. Parag understand it very clearly, because achieving 92 out of 110 was, at that time, it was so difficult. We did not want to miss any single point. But that FSC certified wood we had to use, there is nothing available in Bangladesh. So lots of challenges. But as Mr. Pranab was telling in a lighter mode, that we learned a lot of things. And again, I can echo with him. Maybe we thought that we can also now can be a consultant to guide somebody. But obviously, it was a huge learning process. And after, and that's we are not allowed to focus the light in the evening towards the sky, because we are not allowed to disturb the nature in the night.
Yes.
I never heard it even in my whole life before it happened. So these are many experiences we learned in the whole process, and that's actually help us a lot. Now, when I use my washroom or when I go for the shaving or toothbrushing, I'm very careful about the taps, because we experimented. You can check at your home. The efficient tap gives you 7 to 8 liter water per minute. And if you calculate that every minute in the world, how many trillion liters of water we are just simply wasting for nothing. We are keeping it open, and 7 liters, and you don't need 7 liter water per minute. You have nothing to do. So there are a lot of things we experienced, and we are now exercising. But I think, as you mentioned, that it was a big challenge, and we became very happy that we could make it successful. And that together with this lead platinum, when we also thought that, okay, these lead things are much more technical than it is. Things are more visible things. It's much more technical thing.
Yes.
And if we want to be the number one, and if somebody comes and they will see, oh, it's number one, I don't see there is any speciality. So we decided to make it as beautiful as possible. So that's actually cost a lot of money from our pocket. And then when you are running after a passion, then sometimes you don't care about money. But now it is hurting us, because buyers are not paying that much. So anyway, so we are feeling at least the big satisfaction we have, that we could set a trend in Bangladesh, and and still plumbing is is being known to I think across the world in the apparel sector. So that gives us a huge satisfaction, and that costs a lot of money. You cannot simply buy that kind of satisfaction even with millions of dollars. So.
Super. Thank you so much, Mr. Haq. And Parag, I will now come to you, and I would like to ask challenges from the other side of the table. A lot of times, I don't know if there are government challenges, or what kind of challenges do you think are people? And you also have a perspective. You have actually the both sides perspective, whereby the clients you're working with, you have their perspective, the other perspective. Tell us about some of the challenges which are becoming very prevalent at this point of time.
Last point Mr. Haq made was that we've actually done these for our satisfaction, because we don't get the extra money from clients on this. So basically, everybody wants a sustainable product. Everybody wants a product from a green factory. The biggest challenge is the customer doesn't want to pay you the extra bucks. So that's the other thing. And the other challenges are like, see, now what I said, like sourcing materials. Like one biggest challenge I'm facing is like we have reflective glass of a particular gray shade on the building, so that the light is reflected back. We have not been, two glasses broke and we couldn't replace. We've not been able to replace it for last 4 months now. So because we are not getting that exact shade. So this is one of the challenges I've noticed recently.
Okay.
Apart from that, also, like he mentioned about the taps, we face the same challenges. where people didn't actually know about the material. But coming back in terms of the government agencies also do not understand this, and still, because it's more to do with the private side of it.
Yes.
We are in a complex, in a textile park, which is HSIDC. So they were very happy of green factories coming in. The estate people were very happy about it. But to really understand it, we are actually like a desert. We are like an oasis between the deserts. The industry next to us is the most polluting industry. So it's actually spoiling the green building. So that is also a challenge we are facing. So every day we are getting into discussions how to control it, how to manage it. So in terms of learning, there is yet a lot to come in terms of what the green building requirements are further. Upgradation is still supposed to be coming in. So it's still in the very nascent stage. There are not many people aware of what a green building is, and lack of knowledge. So also locally, the materials are also not very easily available, the sort of specifications that are required. So that is again another challenge.
Sure.
Otherwise, I don't foresee now with the people talking about, like now people associate green buildings with GOTS, GRS, but they are different parameters. A green building is a green building, and those are other sustainable certificates are a sustainable certificate in this separate field. So there is a little bit lack of knowledge that needs to be, the bridge has to be built there to show that a building certified as green is separate and the other certifications are separate. So those are a few challenges we face right now.
Parag, what do you think about it? Yes,
so I think the biggest challenge for us is breaking the myth, that green buildings are expensive. So people tend to over design green buildings. They tend to overdo certain things, like I can say using reflective glass and doubly glazed glass in all areas of the factory, which are not really required, especially in an industrial environment. So I feel the understanding of how to design green and how to really achieve the points required on that certification can really break the myth, because the green buildings that, even platinum rated green buildings that we have done have not been so much more expensive for our clients, and we've broken those myths altogether. So by using very, very simple design, you fundamentally have to use excellence. You have to innovate. The innovation in your design reduces these costs, and thereby not making the green building very, very expensive. And there are a lot of advantages that factory owners can actually get by building green. So for example, in Haryana, if you have a platinum rated factory now, I guess you get 15% more FAR, which is substantial. So if you have a gold rated building, I think you get 9% or something like that. So for each step, you get a slightly better FAR. So if you get more area, obviously, get more area to make your product over there. So I think the most important thing, stumbling block is this breaking of myths. Secondly, the policies. The policy makers also need to realize that they need to promote green buildings, because ultimately by saving energy and saving water, you're saving natural resource, the national resources.
Yes.
So those are the stumbling blocks. I think the main stumbling block is that people are not fully educated on what really a green building is. So people imagine that, if you're going to build green, you're going to spend 20-30% more.
Yes.
And in reality, what I have seen, it really does not cost more than 7 to 8% more than the actual cost.
So Parag, I'm going to ask you one more follow-up question. What Mr. Huck mentioned a little while earlier. He mentioned that, somebody said that, don't go for that kind of certification. And it was his passion that he wanted to go for that kind of a platinum certification.
Yes.
Do you also come across people who are a little reluctant of moving forward, or they do not want that to happen at this point?
Yes. Many of the factories that we do, the client very specifically tells us, look, we do not want certification, but we want you to design green.
Okay, all right.
So what has happened is green is naturally built into our design.
Okay.
So every factory that we do uses taps which save water. Water is recycled, water is harvested. You always have natural daylighting, all the daylighting and ventilation. So this is built into the design. It's become second nature for us.
Wonderful, wonderful. Sonal, I will now, thank you, Parag. Sonal, I will now come to you. You not only you run a textile sourcing platform, you also have a factory of your own. Tell me about you. Tell me what some thoughts around this particular thought. I would like to ask you that.
So particularly, thanks, Kagan. So particularly hearing the conversation, the mindset of most of the entrepreneurs in the industry is that the moment they hear the word green, it is confined to something which is a larger setup and something which takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Of course, with the intent and the mindset and everything comes together with this. But the idea is to, plan something bigger. And of course, the moment we say it's something bigger, it is like we are kind of putting the equation only to a handful of people or to a very different set of, or I would say, very unique set of people in the industry who think it from that angle. Now that industries, now that the business is becoming more global and every factory and everything is getting exposed to the global scenario, buyers are asking for it. You get your factory gets graded. The buyers are asking for what kind of certifications you want. And just before we opened up the session, we had a quick conversation with Mr. Parag, and he said, there are factories who are able to convert and they're able to get double or triple or 3 times or 4 times the business by just putting the right mindset and putting it in the eyes of the customers. That is what they're doing. So what I am kind of looking here and from the fact of the discussion is, while we want to see that the ecosystem gets transformed, what can we do, especially this question is to Mr. Parag, what can we do considering that the textile and the fashion is something which is very, very open and very global in terms of the fact that it is, everybody is reading about it and everybody is connected globally. And also now the consumers at sustainability as becoming the norm, consumers are becoming aware of it. How do we inculcate that at the ground level with the smaller and a mid-sized factories? How do we do that transition? And of course, I just heard about the experience of Mr. Fazlul and Mr. Pranam. They shared their experience. Of course, the journey of being the first of those factories who thought that way was very, the challenges were there. But how do we now, how the transformation has happened and how do we mitigate this for a larger community as a whole?
So I guess, since you already have so many members, it would be very easy for you to disseminate, some simple information to them. We can guide you to do that. And if we disseminate that very simple to understand information with people in the textile industry, I'm sure what will happen is they will understand that, it's not very difficult and it's not very expensive. And by going green, you will actually save money. You save money. When you save energy, you save money. When you save water, you save money. And things like solar photovoltaic panels, solar photovoltaic has become so efficient now that you can recover your cost in 3 years or less.
Wow.
So I mean, we are just doing a 1 megawatt installation for solar PV, and it's guaranteed to pay back in 3 years.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Great. So let me come to a question now of now that we've spoken about what are the kind of things we are challenges, and many we have seen also a lot of benefits what green buildings actually are providing us. How difficult it is to actually get on, I would like to talk about the validation process or the certification and all that. And Parag, you did mention that sometimes people don't go for certification and green. Is it possible? And I would like to first ask you, Parag, and then I would go to Pranav and Mr. Haq. Is it really difficult to get these certifications from the government side or from the application side? What are the basic certifications what one should get so that they can get going with green?
So there are no government certifications. There are bodies like now you have IGBC,
Yeah.
you have Griha, then you have LEED, and you have EDGE,
Yes.
and there are various organizations in India which are providing green building certification. So you have CII. CII is the biggest support to the Indian industry. So in India you have CII. Then you also have companies like Godrej who have got into green certification.
Okay.
Then there are other consultants. So there are specialist consultants who work with architects like us for providing green building certification, and they're very, very efficient. So see, people like me who have certain experience on working on green buildings, it doesn't really take us very, very long to inform the client as to what is achievable and what is not achievable, and a cost on that.
Okay.
So once that is done, I think so fundamentally we have a lot of some say 5-6 years ago we didn't have so much infrastructure as far as green buildings were concerned. But now you have lots of professionals, lots of companies who are there and who can help you in getting your green building certification.
Wonderful, wonderful. Great, thank you so much, Parag. And I would now like to ask a question to first Mr. Haq. On the client side, once you have developed a process, you have also got, you market it also very well. What kind of change in perception and business opportunities which has happened to you within the industry because you got rated on a specific parameter? How did it help you on the client side, on the customer side?
Yeah, it is very a mixed experience I had, and then when we about to get the certification, when we came to know that, okay, Mr. Parag knows that in the process you can understand that what is score is going to be. Maybe 1-2 points is always under question mark, but mostly. So we scored 92, but we even before long time before we were more than sure about 80. We could we knew it that we scored 80. That we know even at least 6 months before that is for sure we are going to get the platinum. So I started my marketing at that stage, and I make a booklet. Okay, this is the LEED Platinum certification. It's one of the highest certification. And I got huge response from the buyers. Even, that's Mr. Pranav, Mr. Sunil can know that's getting a brand's appointment for a new supplier. It's not an easy job at all. But when I sent this message, I got almost all. We are mainly talking about the European brands, and I got appointment from almost all the big European brands like M&S. They are at that time they are talking about the Plan A. Although they finally dropped the Plan A, that is different story. But I got appointment, and the response I got that they're just waiting when I will start the factory and they will jump in. That was the so we are overwhelmed with the reception, but that did not happen when we started the factory, to be very honest. So then what happened? Okay, you started. Okay, let's see how you go, because that was the building, that was the factory, but that was not the product. So that is, that the product and the way we made the LEED Platinum certified, our target was a bit higher range of the buyers with whom we did not work before. So that actually, okay, that was a bit shock we had initially, but later on, it is obviously giving us some advantage, because when we have the LEED Platinum, at least it is giving me easy access to a buyer's door to have a meeting. So getting a meeting with the buyer it's becoming much easier than any other general factory when I have this kind of accreditation under my belt. So that's easing my life. But on the other hand, buyers are not ready to pay you extra. And I don't blame them, because that no buyer, when I buy something, I also try to buy at least as less as possible. So that is the natural behavior they pay. Maybe we thought that buyer will jump and will ask, okay, I'm paying you 10 cents extra. That did not happen. But when I have that lot of customer in hand available, my negotiating power automatically increase, and that's helping us, always to get better money, to attract better people. And now we are dealing with all the big brands across the world. So I think that is paying off now. It takes time. It did not happen immediately, which we expected, to be very honest, in the first year or second year. Maybe it is started to happen after, I can say that from the third year. So it takes a bit longer time.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. for sharing. And before I actually go to Pranav, I would like to ask all our audience that in case you have any questions, and I see that people have questions, please put it into the question and answer box, and we will be happy to take up questions just within the next 10 minutes. We should be finishing this session. We are almost towards the end of our quick Q&A, our sessions here, and we will be definitely taking up the questions. So Pranav, I would now come to you and ask about how it has impacted or helped you with regards to your customers.
See, like Mr. said, a lot of customers show interest in the factories that are green. You get a preference, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to cost. So yes, now with the current scenarios, with all these sustainability talks, green building certifications, like I mentioned earlier, the customers, you get a good higher range of retailers to work with. You get it's easy to get the foot into the door, but it boils down to the price. So these buildings do give you an edge over other suppliers, but in terms of the price points, you have to be competitive. So that's the story on the other side. But yes, when you talk about your green story, when you talk about sustainability, and the message can go on to a product, it makes them more interested and inclined towards you. So that's the scenario in the market right now. And again, with the changes now in terms of global warming and becoming a hot topic, and climatic change, so these they are preferring to work with work with suppliers who are compliant, also compliant with environment friendly practices. So it will give us an edge. Give it another 2, 3, 4 years, it will be more, we would be on a preferred supplier list basis. That's my thought process of it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Now, on the, we've discussed about the client side of as well, but all at our platform, and of course, India, Bangladesh, and all these countries come with a large SME base, small and medium enterprises. So, and we all have interacted with SMEs in the past. Mr. Haq also has been on the presidential board of various associations. Pranav, you've also been seen it around. Parag, you've also dealing with a lot of SMEs as well. I would like to pose this question to all three of you, and I would request this would be one of my last questions around this section before we go on to the audience. How can we bring this culture shift between among the SMEs to really adopt this as a fact of life? Because I see that there is still a bit of a resistance. There is still less knowledge. How do you think, what are the things as the options to really SMEs to adopt this particular thing? And I would say, Parag, would you like to go for it? Let's start with you. Yeah.
So as I said earlier, I think the most important part is education, and maybe education through examples. I mean, I can give example of one of my clients for whom we did a gold-rated green building about 6 years ago. In 1.5 years, they trebled their turnover because they were mainly into exports of engineered goods and exporting to Europe and US. Their customers came to the new factory and they were so impressed by the new factory that they increased their orders, and that spread in the market, and within 1.5 years they trebled, and today they are at 5 times their turnover at that time. And they commissioned me to build another factory for them, which is now going to be a platinum rated factory. So the results are, you can see them, that especially with, I would say, value addition, engineered goods and things like that. For example, these people make heat exchangers for the air conditioning industry.
Mhm.
So the air conditioning industry is very, very sensitive about energy efficiency.
Mhm.
So if you're manufacturing in a plant that is itself green, that adds to adds value to that product. So I feel that the critical part over here is to educate and to dispel the myth about that green buildings are very, very expensive and unaffordable to build.
Great. Thank you so much, Parag, for sharing. Pranav, what do you say about it? When you
Uh,
class to the
I
essay?
agree with Mr. Parag. Plus, it's more to do with an individual also, or an industry, to what is their give back to the environment, or what is their mindset. How do they deal it? We are dealing with the chalta hai attitude in India. Until and unless that doesn't go away, people will not build buildings like this. But it is the need of the hour now. Also, it is more to do with industry centric, where, like he mentioned, it's the air conditioning heat exchanger industry. Industry in the textile industry also, they require to do it because it gives you a better environment to work in.
Mm.
It increases the efficiency of the workers. It increases the health of the workers. So it's overall, it does pay back in the long run. So people need to understand it's basically to do with the mindset of the individual running the industry, what the management thinks about it. And I think it's the need of the hour, and sooner we do it, better world for us.
Wonderful. I can completely understand. Thank you so much, Pranav, for sharing it. Mr. Haq, what is the Bangladesh perspective around it?
Bangladesh perspective is very, very clear. I think I agree both the points mentioned by Mr. Parag is to break the myth. And this when you really go for the green building, I don't think our case is different, because we, as I told, we wanted to make it as beautiful as possible as well, which actually involved a huge amount of cost from that perspective for nothing. But that's the myth has to be broken, and education is also very important, because as Mr. Pranav was mentioning in Hindi, maybe chalta hai. So this is another thing. Okay, it's going on. People are they're going, what's wrong with me? I can do the same thing. But on top of that, I would like to say that the policy support, the government, I think it can be even applicable to India and in this part of the world. The government has to show a real policy benefit or policy support. Okay, if you go there, I will support you, and that should be lucrative. That should be lucrative. I can tell you that nowadays government is supporting us. Okay, if somebody has the LEED certified factory, they get income tax benefit, which is very, very nominal. Let's say 0.1% of that is not okay. That is an honor. That is an recognition, but not incentive to just incentivize others to go for that. So for SMEs is in many fold, they are not I think really focused properly. We talk on the seminar, we talk in the symposium, write a lot of letters, but from the policymakers in the real field, it is very little there. That even in the corona, that the many packages, that there are SMEs packages, but it not reaching to them. So that is a big block is there from policy maker side, and that has to be very visible, focused, and effective, I think, to attract them.
Completely understand. Thank you so much, Mr. Haq. And
Just a point I wanted to add. I believe now in India, it's also much easier to get finance if you have a pre-certification. So if you pre-certify your project, your getting finance for the project is far simpler.
That's good. That's good.
Fast track.
Super. And Parag, I would like to ask you a question which Mr. Haq also raised about the government. And there is one question which now I'm also simultaneously moving to the questions which have now come into the Q&A section. What are the kind of government incentives? Mr. R. Mohan has asked this question. What are the kind of government incentives, or whether the state or the center is actually doing so that we can it goes toward finance? Is what you said, that you can get pre-finance, but what are the other ones which are there?
Can I answer that?
Yes, please go ahead.
Partially.
Yes.
So, see, in India, frankly, it is a state subject. So it's not a center subject, and also within states, unfortunately, it's the municipalities which decide what incentives to give. So, for example, in Haryana, if IGBC has an advantage, maybe in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, you will have EDGE as an advantage, or in Pune, EDGE is recognized, but in Gurgaon, EDGE is not recognized. So I feel that the center needs to kind of own this and instruct everybody all over that it's important to follow green building strategies. I mean, maybe certification is really not that important, but they should be able to prove that they are building a certain amount of green, at least saving 20% energy, 20% water, and 20% embodied energy in materials. So, which is where you try to use natural materials and recycled materials to reduce the embodied energy in materials, which is also very important.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Parag. I would like to ask Pranab or Mr. Haq, if you have got some help on the government side in terms of subsidies and all that, or any benefit, what do you see?
I tell, because yes, I got it. It is not exactly from the government in particular. At that time, there was no policy. At that time, there was no policy, because when we calculated, we found that it is very expensive, and we thought commercially it might not be viable until and unless we get a subsidized interest rate to build the factory. So the then Bangladesh bank governor, our central bank governor, who is very quite senior to me, but I have very good relationship with him. So I met him and I told Mr. Governor, his name is Dr. Atiyar Rahman. I told Atiyar bhai, I'm planning to make the greenest factory in the world. Oh, she was so delighted. And he told, okay, no matter what support you need. I told, I need this amount of money. But his deputy, who is in charge of the green building, green initiatives, the government sector was not in the policy. He told, sir, we cannot support because there is nothing written in the policy. Okay. And I was amazed to know the reply from the governor. Governor told, okay, you deal with your, you change your policy, take your time, and give him the approval tomorrow. Don't wait for the policy to be changed. First, give him approval and then change your policy. That is something totally unexpected, totally unusual in this part of the world. It is not as the whole system. It is only because of the person who has dynamism, who has enough courage to do that. Because sitting in the central governor's chair doing these things sometimes is not safe even, Yes. So I think that the support I got, and I should always recognize it. Otherwise, it could not be materialized, I think. So
but you think that government needs to really work towards this to give these kind of benefits?
Yeah. Now they are offering some sort of packages, especially subsidized interest rate for the green initiatives, green buildings. But at that time, it was a big challenge.
Pranav, you wanted to say something around this?
We were far too early to build it, so we didn't get any benefits of it. Now, probably like Parag mentioned, probably we have 3 buildings sanctioned. So first is built, the second or third. Probably we may get an extra FAR, but I'm not sure. I would have to check with our architect team.
Okay, all right.
So we're far ahead of time. So we missed the boat.
All right. Okay, good. So I think Mr. Prakash Manik had a question around the loan offers for these type of construction, which Parag in a way has already answered for that matter. Thanks, Parag, for preempting and answering this question. There's another question from Mr. R. Mohan, which has already been answered by our panelists around does the end customer pay or simply because the product is made? So I would say that, both of our panelists have answered this question indeed as well, that customers do not really pay an extra price over it, but definitely you have an edge and the foot in the door, which is definitely there, and keep pursuing it. Few years, you are definitely going to have an edge around this. So I think that question.
I want to add one
Yes.
point on it, because I receive this question almost every week in Bangladesh, almost every week.
Okay.
So I would like to answer this question in a different way. Let's say you made a 5-star hotel, but if your services and other things are not really matched with this, you will this hotel will not continue. It will be closed after a few years, and you will. So building the green factory is not end of the story. It is beginning of your story that you started your journey. So together with your service, together with your bargaining power, together with your product diversification, if you can match all together, certainly you will be the winner. But you must not expect the winning the game from day one. As you correctly mentioned, that you have to be patient, you have to have some long-term vision to win.
Wonderful. Very well said. Thank you so much for this. Sonal, what is your thought on this? You've been seeing these questions. What is your thought? Any questions from your side?
No, first of all, I like to just say that Mr. Fazlul has given an excellent point that all you need is a mixture of everything coming together, and green factory is just your first starting point of putting yourself in front of the customers with a better perspective that you are different from the league of the other vendors. But my question again is to Parag, and I would like to ask him, because our industry, especially in the Indian subcontinent, is now just, transitioning to a phase where sustainability and green buildings is just kind of getting into the mindset of the people. And now to put this transition faster and get adoption in place, what can be these starting points, how people can actually start transiting into this particular level? There are people who are already having factories, there are people who are looking to build factories now. So, but majority are the ones, they would like to know how do we start taking those first initial step to start this journey.
So see, I mean, the green buildings are something, and it's not necessary that you're doing a new building. You can even retrofit a building. So you can go for certain certifications like EDGE, okay, where you can retrofit a building and get it certified green. So all you need in EDGE, all you need to do is save 20% energy, 20% water, and 20% embodied energy in materials. So it's a very easy system for getting green certification, and it is specifically designed for the developing world.
Wow.
See, yes. So all the other green building certification systems were, originated somewhere else. But World Bank thought that, it's a high time that the number of green buildings exponentially increases. Instead of having higher rated buildings, if you have more number of buildings which just meet the 20-20-20 criteria, you'll spread the footprint of green buildings. So now you have a lot of options. So it's not necessary to target, that you want to go platinum or gold. So as long as you save a certain amount of water and energy and natural resources, you will see the benefits.
Wonderful.
I mean, you start small, you can start small.
Start with, you've made some excellent point of 20-20-20 formula, but is there a starting point, or is there a way that people can actually start looking into this area?
Absolutely. Yeah? Absolutely. So I mean, a small example I can give is you can completely retrofit all your taps. Okay. You get very, very good systems where you can filter the rainwater from the roofs and store it. And the same rainwater can be reused. Oh. So we are doing projects where we are storing year's use of rainwater, filtering it and storing it, so that the customer does not have to depend on either groundwater or municipal water.
Super, wonderful. So all I can see is that, against a popular saying of easier said than done, it is easier done than said. It's all about starting it and having the mindset, as Pranav also earlier said, that's having the mindset of starting, and the things will start. So good. Thank you so much for sharing. Mr. R. Mohan actually has a question which I don't know right now is out of the scope of this particular panel discussion. He says that, what would be the cost of setting up a 1 lakh square feet of factory near Chennai? And I would say, Mr. Mohan, we would be pleasure to give you Mr. Warenkar's number, and he will be happy to talk about it, definitely. But I think it's a question beyond this scope of this. Then Mr. Madhavan V has asked a question on, is there any government subsidy for green building? We have already spoken about that. And Mr. Sunil Dalwani asks a couple of questions, and these are set of last questions which we have, but I will sincerely suggest, we already still have many people in the room. I would suggest, in case you have any questions, please put it in the Q&A box. We are here for some more time. The question is, can we get a general detailing on different categories of green buildings and specifications for each? I think we've discussed about this on the general detailing of the green buildings, right? In case you would need to throw some more light. And can a building be categorized post-construction and then be upgraded? Parag,
Yes.
would you like to answer this?
Yes, I've already answered that.
Yes, so it can
It's
be
possible. Yes.
It is possible. Great.
Yes,
So Sunil, thank you very much, Mr. Sunil Dalwani, for answering this question. And I think we've taken all the questions so far. I will give you, Mr. Abdullah Al Naeem has raised his hand. Maybe we could ask him to allow to talk and let us ask. So, Mr. Abdullah Al Naeem, you are online. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question? Oh, I think either he did it by mistake or all right, no worries. All right. So more questions coming in, or
Gagan, I've just unmuted Mr. Abdullah.
yes.
Mr. Abdullah, you can ask your question, please.
I think maybe he did it by mistake. At times it happens, so that's what I'm. It may be, So never mind. I think we have a lot of. Okay, he did it by mistake. He's just put a sorry on the chat box. So any more questions? It'll be wonderful to ask. And if not, yes, we will of course close this program now. But before I close, I would like to thank you all, Mr. Haq, Mr. Warenker, and Pranav, Mr. Mahajan, all of you. Thank you so much for such an interesting discussion around a very, very critical topic. I surely definitely got my knowledge upgraded on how we need to do this. I interact with a lot of SMEs, and I'm sure to tell a lot of them that why it is easier done than actually said or thought, for that matter. Thank you so much from my side. And Sonal, to you first, and after that, I would like to have some closing comments from each one of you of the panelists.
Just to sum up the entire conversation, and I am just kind of again coming back to my same question, and I'm taking a sum up from the a larger community point of view in terms of the SMEs and the MSMEs here. There are a few things that we can look around when we're looking at green buildings and some of the areas what we can change around. As Mr. Parag mentioned, that what we can do is a 20-20-20 formula, wherein we can use water taps. By just changing the water taps, the amount of control of the water can be reduced by 20%. We can reuse the rainwater for a longer period of time. We can use the solar power on our factory buildings. And in case if you can just also, Mr. Parag, if you can throw a light of how much greenery can be done in a factory, because that is something very doable kind of things in the Indian subcontinent. If there is some light you can throw on that particular area also, how much greenery can be done in the factory, maybe on the rooftop, maybe in the driveways areas. Will that make any value addition in terms of
Yes,
getting the validation in place?
yes. So go for local trees. You know, don't. So you have to do some study on what is the local tree. Do not have a lot of lawn area because lawn consumes a lot of water. So restrict your lawn to not more than 20% of your total green area. And use all local plants and trees.
Okay.
You know, because they're sturdy and they require lesser amount of maintenance. So they'll also require lesser water, they'll require lesser maintenance, and keep your turf area or the grass area to a minimum.
All right.
That consumes a lot of water. And one thing I missed is, very important is use LED light fixtures.
Yes. Wonderful.
Efficient LED light fixtures.
So there is one last question which Mr. Ashok Chakravarti has put in, Parag, and we can answer this and then move forward on our closing comments. Although we did discuss a bit briefly, but would you like to throw a bit of a light on what is the validity usually for the green buildings and the renewals part?
3 years.
Okay. And there is a renewal after the 3 years.
Yes. So, I mean, that's of course, if you want to maintain your status,
yes,
then you have to go for a renewal.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much. And I would now like to first come to Pranav for your closing comments from today's session, and then we move forward.
Pleasure meeting you all, and thank you for having me on this conversation, and wish we have more green buildings in the country.
All right, great. Thank you. Mr. Haq, what about you?
I think I should thank SowtexConnect to invite me to join from Bangladesh, and I took the opportunity to highlight what we did as a whole from Bangladesh apparel sector. I personally now feel proud that Bangladesh is leading the whole sector in terms of the green buildings, and as Mr. Pranav correctly said, that we'd like to see the more green factory comes, and the global criticism about the apparel sector, especially of located in this part of the world, should have we can just turn around this criticism into appreciation. So that days are coming, and hopefully in a short time we will see that, and with the support from SowtexConnect and other bodies like that, they will take this kind of initiative to showcase these positive things to the rest of the world.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Haq. And Parag, what about you?
Thank you for having me on this panel. It was a pleasure discussing with all of you, and to meet Mr. Fazal and Mr. Pranab Mahajan. It was a pleasure meeting all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all of you for some very valuable comments, which people need to hear. It's the call of the day, and we really love your suggestions, and definitely this will spark a thought in many other people that yes, we can do it, and it is possible to go for it. Thank you one more time, and looking forward to see you sometime soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
All right, we can probably close the meetings so we can just got 10 people left. So now, are you sharing something? There is nothing on share.
That needs.
Your phone number.